Welcome to the ITS webinar dedicated to collective transport. I am Bernard van der Lande, Head of Business Development for Worldline and for Belgium. Thanks to our 12,000 employees, Worldline is serving 400,000 merchants and 350 banks across the world. We also offer digital and cloud services to the public and health sectors, transport and manufacturing sectors. In the webinar, we will keep a finger at the pulse of collective transport in Belgium. We do this from an ITS perspective, meaning how does it all come together and blend in a seamless multimodal mobility experience. But in the webinars, we also zoom in on some specific development, and for this webinar, it is ticketing and payments interoperability. As you can see, public transport has clearly been challenged by Corona. While ridership levels expect to come back only slowly, we hear a lot of calls for public transport to accelerate its transition towards digital. Public transport operators are being pushed by the European Commission to become more competitive as markets will be liberalized by 2023. And they are being pushed by their competent federal or regional authorities to open up and be more cooperative with private initiatives such as shared mobility operators and mass players, as we see, for instance, in the Flemish basisbereikbaarheid initiative. At the same time, they must place the end user central. There are calls for better real-time information on occupancy levels, for instance, and for things like the capacity to reserve a seat, but also to have travel experience that is as smooth as possible, with as much as possible payment, tariff, and ticketing integration. All this will lead to account-based ticketing and mobility as service. As Sophie Dutordoir, CEO of SNCB, said in summer interview, all users have become occasional users. In July, she also announced that SNCB will develop more flexible ticket and subscription formula, and that they would show occupancy levels in train in a new app with green, orange, and red codes. End users are sensitive to high-quality information and for ticketing and payment with no hassle. As you have seen, we look today into the ticketing and payment roadmap of the Belgian operators, and while doing so, we are sensitive to a few things. First, are we moving to a seamless public transport experience across operators? Second, is there openness to work with other players, such as private mass players? So, our first talk is about the digital ticketing and payment roadmap of the lane, and it is presented by Sin Maas, project lead ABT at the lane. Our second talk is about the digital ticketing and payment roadmap of STIP, presented by Michel Genot, Head of Ticketing of STIP. And finally, we have a presentation of tech, and it is presented by Renaud Théry, responsible digital tech. We will then draw a conclusion from the webinar, especially on the question, how will this impact the end user experience? And we can use all the help you can give us for this, so please speak up using the chat. So, here we go, starting with Sin.